Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are actually live right now, and we were having a little bit of difficulty with the internet here at the hotel, so it's been a bit of a challenge. And Rich is in a completely different situation where he is, and Rev Rod was on for a millisecond, and I don't know what happened. So as it stands right now, we're just going to flow with it and do what we do. So, welcome to CSL Ocala's virtual service. And we are Centers for Spiritual Living Ocala. And I am Donna Davis. And I am Norma Anderson. And we're both the practitioners there at the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. We're happy that you joined us today. And so, right now, we're just going to go into our values. They're going to pop up on the screen here for you. And Nama's going to take us through those values. Well, our values, first and foremost, is spiritual growth. Oh, we got mission and purpose up first. So we'll go over our mission. Our values are spiritual growth and practice, love, appreciation, community, freedom, creativity, health and wholeness, generosity, and financial well-being. And our mission, purpose, and vision. Our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. And our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And our vision is a world that works for everyone. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Norma. And at this time, I just invite you to just get really centered wherever you are. It's just a testament to who we are as human beings, just living this life, dealing with life and glitches within our lives. But we still have to be able to get grounded in the moment. And in this moment, I invite you now to just be still wherever you are. Allow your body to breathe naturally. Relax in your chair, in your bed, outside on your patio, wherever you are. And as I sit in this space, I recognize the allness of the one. I recognize that this one permeates all things because it is all things. It is the inside and the outside, the up and the down, the something, the nothing. It's all of it. And as I breathe in that space, that is allness, I know that God is everywhere present. And since that is true, then I know that where I sit right now, the presence of the divine exists. My heart beats the presence of the divine. My body is a manifestation of that one in human form. I know the same thing is true for every single person that's within the sound of my voice. For every single person that even isn't aware of their magnificence. For those who believe and those who do not, I know that the same is true for all of us because we are all sitting in the one. That one presence is showing up as us. I invite you now to just allow yourself to immerse yourself in that thought. I am one with that. The great I am. I am one. I believe that that one is calling forth for us to be silent and become aware of its presence. I am one with that. I'm so grateful for that, for this knowing that I am one. I'm grateful that each and every one of us are different. This month's theme is inclusivity. And if we were all the same, how boring would the world be? There would be no color, there would be no life, there would be no vibration. It is our difference that makes us so beautiful. The same way every flower is different, every molecule is different, so too it is our difference that makes up the rainbow that is spirit. And we are all one with that source energy. And so I release these thoughts right now into the law, knowing that the law is God's love flowing and moving and working for the highest and best of each and every person. And so it is. So it is. Oh, so beautiful to my father, oh my goodness, I haven't even seen that. Well, let's go ahead and tell you about them. Because this person is able to come back there. Let's have this one way is happy with our different work. The joy, satisfaction, and fulfillment. This is really the joy, Center since 2012 and the Senior Minister of One Love Center for Spiritual Living since 2017. Red's history of involvement in Centers for Spiritual Living organization leadership activities include the United Centers for Spiritual Living, the nominating team and core, the CSL Regional Diversity Trainer, which he is still currently doing, the CSL Diversity Commission Visioning Team, and the CSL Awards Committee from 2019 to present. Rev Rod is called by spirit of love, the hand of service and the heart of gratitude, appreciation, and thanks. He says, life and the ever-changing rules of spirit in action that calls into greater responsiveness to give thanks. And now it is. His talk title is Who Are We? W.E. Not there. Rev Rod, thank you so much for coming and being with us.
Hello, greetings. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. It's a little glitchy, but we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Uh, it's not just social distancing, it's quite many miles in between. And I thank you for welcoming me into your home, into your center, into your heart. And greetings from One Love Center for Spiritual Living in Brooklyn, New York. Even though I'm actually far from there right now, I'm actually at a celebration for life in a sense. It's a celebration of oneness, you might speak, for young people who are going through a traditional initiation process, an African initiation. And so it really is a wonderful affair. So I'm glad that I was able to get to the Wi-Fi in time to be here. And thank you so much. Um, I just want to, before I go any further, just a special blessing to Reverend Cindy, and knowing that she is not just on the mend, she is returning to her full stature as that spiritual being that we know and love so well. And I just grateful to be able to be here for her. Uh, we have been students together on this path, and now, we are having the wonderful opportunity to do this great work in the world with each other, for each other, and so all the best to Reverend Cindy and all of our alumni and all of our just people everywhere. We're focusing on oneness. I would say we're always focusing on oneness. We're focusing on uh, uh, who are we, which is our title for this particular week, and we're really looking at a sense of diversity, which really means inclusion, because I don't think you can have one without the other. Inclusion pretty much means diversity. Otherwise, we'd all be in it. We'd all be obviously one, and therefore, we wouldn't feel like there was anything to be included into, because we would all obviously, to our senses, appear as one. And I think our greatest challenge and our greatest strength is to see how we are one despite, not in spite of, in spite of our seeming differences. And so the talk for today is we are one. Or I'm sorry, I love it's always the talk, is who are we? And I find it interesting because it's not necessarily who am I? We've been through that, been there, done that. Who am I? Who am I being? And and I think our great job is to, yeah, we need to develop the sense of who I am. Who am I? I am that I am. I am that which I am. All that I am. It sounds like Popeye, right? I am that I am, and all that's all that I am. He knew. He knew who he was in the world. He knew how he showed up in the world. Popeye the sailor. Uh, and so a lot of our uh, challenges from early on, don't maybe some of you remember early on in grade school and pretty much all the way throughout school and beyond, the question is, so what do you want to be when you grow up? Who are you? And those questions were very haunting to me because for the most part in school, I would just make up whatever I thought people wanted to hear. Who am I? And so it's really been a lifelong process in discovering who I am. However, we're talking about who are we? And in terms of inclusivity, and all of a sudden, who are we becomes like a trick question because it's asking in a way to separate ourselves in that diverse way. Who am I as opposed to or in not necessarily opposed, but however in a way that is distinctive from another. And when we look at that, we we in this human form with this human brain and this human so-called thinking, most of the time we will end up with thoughts of separation, things noticing things that the smallest of things that can separate us from one another, and then therefore make judgments based on that. And that's not what we really want to do. We come to this teaching and I don't. I mean, and if you're watching this for the first time, you're hearing about science of mind or religious science or new thought for the first time, and new thought is really old thought. It's just packaged in a different way. It's been around. It's the wisdom of the ages, and many times we just call it ageless wisdom. There is no age because it's around. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever. This wisdom that says we are one, that there is no space between us, even though it might seem that there is a space between us. And, and so a lot of times when we are focusing on our differences or our distinction, unfortunately, along with that comes judgment. There's a story that reminds me of a story about a monk and his student walking down the path, down the road towards a town, and coming toward them were some soldiers. And the master teacher, he said, "Oh, listen, pay very close attention and do exactly what I do." And so the soldiers came upon him, and they said to the teacher, "Excuse me, what are you doing on this road? Who are you?" And he said, "Teacher said, I am nobody. I am nothing." And so they turned to the student. They said, "Who are you?" And the student said, "I'm his student." And they started to beat up the student. They just beat him and kicked him and punched him. And they all took a turn and then they just walked away. And the student said, "I don't understand. Why did they beat me up? And the master said, "Listen, I told you to say what I said. I said that I was nothing. I am nobody. And there was nothing for them to attack. There was nothing for that. They didn't see anything that they could get a hold of. Evidently, they didn't like students." Okay. And so that just reminds me of how often we put labels on ourselves, and we even put a judgment to it that other people can pick up. And some people have their own judgments, and yet they hold us to it. And so, is it not best to see ourselves as perhaps as empty vessels? Yes, who am I? Who am I could be anybody in any given moment. It depends on what I say myself to be. But who are we, and how do we associate ourselves in the world? And so, do we are we our community? I'm sitting not too far from people who identify themselves in some way as a African diaspora, as part of the African diaspora, as African community here in the United States, and and primarily African Americans. And so they are associated with that. And who knows? There could be some people down the road who may not like that. You know. However, if we consider ourselves as empty vessels, that could mean that it's only seemingly empty. We could be viewed as, imagine an empty vase or an empty bowl. You could actually see yourself or see ourselves as full of unlimited possibilities. Reverend Cindy, I'm sure you've heard it. Those of you who have heard it before, and those of you who know her, she likes the phrase, and I like it too. We are called possibilitarians. When you are open at the top, when you are open in your heart, when you are open physically to oneness and to these unlimited possibilities of life, you get to be a possibilitarian. And I love that. Thank you, Reverend Cindy, for that. And that's a metaphysical concept, metaphysical, beyond the physical. I'd like to call it a metavesical. Yeah, we are beyond what you see. We are beyond individually and collectively. We are more than flesh and bone. We are more than skin. We are more than what meets the eye. What is that, like Transformers? More than meets the eye. You know, and that's who we are. We are able to transform ourselves in each moment, giving ourselves freedom, which we talked about last month. We're talking about, what I wear does not define me. My language does not define me. The car I drive, the house I live in, does not define who I am. Does not define us as a village. And these are the important things when we're asking, who are we? Is who are we depending on the manifestation, on the outlook, or are we talking about something deeper, the in look, the inner view? So it is a great mystery that is constantly unfolding because we don't get to see, from the outside in. We are really seeing from the inside out. And we need to give ourselves that opportunity that we are free to choose who we are and and what we do. And so when we're talking about oneness, I mean, that's what it's all about. Who are we? We are one. I liken it to the five W's. Maybe you hear about it in the media, in literacy. We're talking about what are the five W's? Who, what, where, when, and why. The five W's in life. So who are we? Well, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. You've heard that. We are individualized expressions of the one. So I'm gonna go meta on you. I'm gonna go metaphysical on you. So one plus one equals one. All right. All there is one. I mean, you might have two ones, but it's still one. So actually, this may or may not make sense, but I have that one plus one is actually less than one because the sum is less than the whole. We can add it up all we want, but the whole, the one, is constantly expanding. One is always making more of itself. It's making more one than meets the eye. What you thought was one before, there's more to it. And there's more to us. So who are we? We are more than we were before. I like acronyms. If anybody's heard me speak before, I love acronyms when describing what I'm talking about. So W.E. What does that mean for me as an acronym? W.E. I have whole enchilada. What can I say? It's all that is. The sum of the parts is not more, but it's a whole enchilada, but there's more to come. All right. And so that's what? What are we? You know, we are itself, or we're ever expanding. I also like another we word. I'll get to that later. And then where is we? Well, we is everywhere, as is the one that created we. Okay? Out of itself, it created all of everything that has ever existed. So does this make sense that the one that created we is everywhere? We call it omnipresent. You know, it can't help but be everywhere because it's in everything. It made everything out of itself. And I love that concept. And then when is we? We is now. We is, here's another acronym for now. New opportunities welcome. We are always expanding. Even we're always growing. We're always being more and more fulfilled. We don't stop being fulfilled. Even when we choose to give up this body, this temple, this vessel, we expand into the greater yet to be, and that's my belief. Whatever your belief is, however, I think as far as most civilizations go, they're talking about giving up the shell or give up the ghost or release the body or whatever it is, it's going to something even greater. And when we look at that and we say, hey, you know, this is the truth of when we are. We are now at all times. We're always in the present moment. We don't live in the past. The past is gone. The future is not yet arrived and never will. All we have is now. And we are now. We are now beings. We can't be otherwise. Another problem with life, uh, human life, is that a lot of times we want to live in the past or the future. The past was comfortable. I want to get back to what felt comfortable. The future, even though it's a great mystery, and maybe I wasn't crazy about the past. I sure don't like where I am now. Or maybe the future I can project into the unknown, and that might be okay. Except sometimes we stay there. It's like, no, you got to come back and live right now, live in the here and now. All right? And then there's why is we? Why is we? you know, it's like, what did they call that? They used to call that ebonics, but they actually found out that it is in a lot of ways correct when we're talking from the sense of oneness. We be now. We is now. It's present moment. And why? Why? Because that's the answer right there. Because we are at cause, we are being at cause from and for the, here's another we acronym, holy expression is the fullness, a whole expression, which again is ever expanding. And you can make your own acronyms if you like from W.E. W's a tough one, but I'm sure you can do it. And it really needs to match with what we're talking about, not just any old we and E. Okay? And so it's all about exposing more and more the spirit, exposing more and more of it itself for any and for all and for every and no reason whatsoever, just because. So, yes, we are all emanations of the divine. Each one of us is unique and at the same time unified. And it's all about unity. I want to bring up there is a society of people who are being clean and sober, who are allowing themselves to recover from whatever malady, from whatever dis-ease of the mind, body, and spirit. And you might even consider that people from who are recovering from whatever. Maybe it's gambling or any way that they can obsess and bring damage and harm to themselves and other ones. Uh, uh, there's a wonderful person, Reverend Watts, says there is no other. What happens to one, happens to each one. However, there are people in like AA or NA or any other an anonymous program, and in their declarations, they begin with we. It says, we found that we were powerless over our addiction, over our gambling, over our sex, over our food, or whatever it is. They all begin with we. And it's an anonymous program, not just because can't say who that person is. I can't say they went to a meeting. It's anonymous because they are practicing unity. They have a tradition. The first tradition states our personal recovery depends on unity. They can't get anything done on a personal level until they practice that unity. And that's another important aspect. And, and that aspect of what needs to happen for us to be able to progress and move past seeing ourselves as individuals for the common good. Okay, we're moving past the human experience. We are realizing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and the human experience is not the be all, end all of our experience. We are spiritual beings, and we are descended into human form, and we are manifestations of the grand idea, and it's very easy to forget our where we come from. We come from the one. We are of the one who just wants to express itself in form, in all the various forms. And that's why it's so important for each and every one of us to be reminded, because I think in some level we all know this. There's a quote from Marshall Rosenberg. It says, "Our survival as a species depends on our ability to recognize that our well being and the well being of others are, in fact, one and the same." One, the same. Are you getting that? That regardless of where we go, it comes right back to the beginning, and you find out that you never left in the first place. We thought that we went around, you know. However, we were always at all times connected. It's not the painting on the chapel on the ceiling where the fingers are almost touching. No, the fingers are connected. We are all connected, whether you can see it or not. And even if it doesn't look like it's connected, there is no spot where we are not connected. Even though the tree looks like it's different from me or you, yeah, we are still all one. And another important aspect, um, there's another quote that I like, and this is from our CSL Diversity and Inclusion Commission, and they're doing fantastic work. I was actually a part of that as well, and they have written a lot of the talks that we're doing this month. And it says there is value in getting clear about our identities, individual and collective, and what we bring to the table. Standing in our power and celebrating the identities of others is a gift. It also helps foster inclusion. This is from our Centers for Spiritual Living, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission. And so, how important is that? That is so important because it takes all of us to, a village to raise a child. It takes all of us to bring the awareness to each other of our oneness. That's what's happening now with Black Lives Matter. They're saying now that no lives matter until Black Lives Matter. And I think that's awesome because it gets us to realize that you can put anything in there, substitute black for anything. But right now there are Black lives that are most certainly in jeopardy. And so we recognize that each and every life is vital, is important. Why? Because we're all one. We all matter. We all participate on the planet in the life of each one, even though somebody over in China or some other part of the world or some remote island, we still get to share, not necessarily on a physical level, and we have to get past that. We are not merely flesh and bone. And that's another important aspect. Yes, we are connected. We are one. And we are a multitude. Yeah, multitude plus multitude still equals one. Another powerful idea for us to understand is that we need to be see ourselves more clearly, We have to do our work. We have to do our spiritual work. We have to do our meditation, get silent, be still, and get clear and recognize who I am. First and foremost, I don't care how you say it. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of the divine. I'm a creation of the creator. And I know that the creator cares for its creations. I mean, however you say it, it's we have to identify ourselves on something greater than just the physical appearance or just our job or just our salary or just our affiliation. We are more than that. I'm sure that there's an agape song Ricky Byers choir is I am more than that, you know. I am more than that, you know. Uh, uh, I'm not going to do the song, don't worry. It's just that whatever reminder we can use to get us beyond, you know, we're talking metaphysical, beyond the physical. That's what our job is to share with ourselves first and have it play out with the rest of the world because it's only one. And a quote that was used last month was that no one is free unless everyone is free. It's the same one because all there is one. If one is bound, then one is bound. All ones are bound because one is bound. I think you're bound to get that. Here's another quote that I like that has to do with oneness, it has to do with love. It says, the beginning of love is the will to let go. I'm sorry, is the will to let those we love be perfectly themselves. The resolution not to twist them to fit our own image. We're getting beyond the physical. If in loving them we do not love what they are, but only their potential likeness to ourselves, then we do not love them. We only love the reflection of ourselves we find in them. Thomas Merton. And so, yes, in bringing this slowly to a close, it's important that we just don't look for the familiar. All right, we are all one. How are we able to see the spiritual aspect of who we are in each and every one? That's why we say namaste. There's the God within me, the spirit within me, the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. That's where we're moving from and to. And when you do that, you realize there's no movement anywhere. It's just the divine connection. This is who we are, divinely connected at all times. Whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, we are divinely connected. And this is how we get to live more fully our divine purpose on the planet is to know that yes, hey, I am my brother's keeper. I'm my sister's keeper, and they get to keep me as well because just because we are one. Always will be, always have been, always shall be. And so we have some affirmations that I would like to share with you. I'll take my time with them, and you get to repeat after me. And here we go. Yes, as you can tell, I am outdoors, and there is a plane flying over. I guess they want to listen in. Uh, and so here is one affirmation that I want to share with you. It says, I stand proud of who I am. I adore myself and give myself love freely. I bravely heal my bias and embrace living, live out love with all human beings and all of life. I know that's a little tough. Let's do that again. I bravely heal my bias and embrace, live out love, just living full out, live full out love with all human beings and all of life. And I operate the One Love Center Spiritual Living, Center for Spiritual Living, with Reverend Haja Rahim, who added some affirmations. And if you don't mind, I'll share them with you right now. It says, I am gentle with myself and others as we rediscover and reclaim our spiritual identities. Just breathe that in. As I become more self aware, I become more inclusive of others rather than focusing on our differences. Just taking a breath. As I heal my ego sense of separation, I become a more loving blessing by seeing a world of harmony and oneness. So I want to thank you all for joining. I want to thank you as we remember who we are, when we are, why we are, where we are, that we are those empty vessels full to overflowing with the unlimited possibilities of who we are. And we define who we are in the highest of holy expressions. And I know this is the truth for each and every one. And for just this moment, I would like to do a spiritual mind treatment. I have some music in the background, some spiritual drumming. How appropriate. Excuse me. And so I am knowing that right where I am, right where we is, that all there is one. That all there is one in every activity of our affairs. I am knowing that each one, as an individualized expression of the one, is full to overflowing with whatever is necessary to get their particular job done. And so I am knowing in the realm of health that vibrant health is the order of the day, and that we recognize that our prayers come together for the highest good of one for all and all for one. And that each and every one who is experiencing anything less than perfect, vibrant health is hereby right now supported in saying yes to perfect health, saying yes to every cell of the body, of the being, of their thoughts, saying yes to perfect, vibrant health, moving, knowing that in God, there is no sickness, there is no health, and each and every one, as an individualized expression, is bringing themselves back to the realization of this moment of truth in each moment. I am knowing for each one that success is the order of the day, that there is that divine presence within, that has a divine presence on the planet in, through, and as each and every one, and each was is endowed, and especially by the asking for all that is necessary to get their purpose fulfilled. And success is assured. I know it. I know it is so. And there is nothing that supports a so called failure. Everything is for the highest and best good. All the stepping stones are in place. And I give thanks knowing that each one is finding the right stepping stones to get to their highest good, even if it involves backward steps and sideways steps. Each step is leading to the greater and greater expression, whole expression, the we expression, the we-ness. And so I am knowing that in order to get our job done on the planet, that for each and every one that financial means and needs, wants and desires, whatever is necessary to assist in enjoying life and fulfilling life for ourselves and all other ones, that all that money, all the finances, all that is available for each and every one that claims it, that claims it now, that claims it loudly, that says, yes, that is mine. I claim it. And I know it is for my good and for the greater good of all. So I am knowing that that is true. And speaking of the greater good of all, I know that all there is right and perfect relationships, we relations. I know that we are one. The only relationship there is the relationship that the divine has with itself. God is relating to itself in all form. So I know it must be good. And I know that each one, according to this word, is opening and opening more and more to know this truth, to see the divine in each and every one. So I give thanks for knowing this is the truth. I know it is manifesting even now. This word spoken into the unerring action of the law simply says, yes, right now it is done. I let it go, I let it be, and please affirm with me by saying, and now it is. Peace and blessings, beloved.
And now it is.
Now it is.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
Yes. God, for giving us that insight on how to choose who we are as part of the whole intellect. I like that. We as the whole intellect. That was really expressive. I love it. So at this time, we like to give our gifts and offerings. Yeah, there we are. And like you to bless yourselves and the center as we read our sharing our gifts, which will be showing up on the screen. And for those of you who would like to give by text, on the bottom of the screen is the number of the text to tithe, or you can donate via PayPal or on our website at www.cslocala.org/donate.
So we will do our affirmation together, sharing our gifts. Together we say, it is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. At this time, I'd like to bless those tithes and offerings. So just dropping back into that space, the oneness, and becoming aware of that oneness that's everywhere present. I know that the gift of the universe is abundance and prosperity, joy. And as this abundance flows through the universe, I know that it flows where I sit right now. I too am a part of the universe. Therefore, that abundance is also me, showing up in human form. All I need to do is open my mind and my heart to that awareness that is my abundance. I know the same is true for every other person because it is true for me, that they too are abundant. And as they activate this law, that is cause and effect, receiving and giving, and then as they give of themselves, so shall they receive, multiply, pressed down, overflow, and anything that is the desire of their heart. It says in the Bible, it is the Father's good to give us the kingdom. This is the kingdom. This is ours by birthright. And all we need to do is claim it. I claim it right now for myself. I claim it right now for each and every person. I also know that any prayer requests that are being sent in right now are already answered into the mind of the Lord. That the answers themselves are already in the question itself. So I am so grateful for the technology that allows us to connect. I'm grateful for Reverend Rod and his message to us today. I'm grateful for Reverend Cindy and her body recuperating so beautifully. I'm grateful for each and every patient that I touch, every smile, every heartbeat. I'm grateful for the universe itself and life, as I know it is wonderful and magnificent and overflowing. So I release it into the law knowing that it's already done. So it is. All right, everybody, we're going to be signing off for now. We're going to be signing off for now, so we're going to be doing the prayer of protection, and we're going to be asking you to join us with that. I'm going to ask Norma to come back and read with me here, because Reverend Rod did such a beautiful treatment after he spoke. Oh my goodness, that just gets you right into that space, so thank you so much. All right, so prayer of protection, everyone. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate each and every person here. Thank you, Reverend Rod, for coming on and blessing us with your energy this morning. And we will see you guys next week. Mwah. Namaste and God bless everybody.
Bless you.
Thanks for everything in the background. You're awesome.